Welcome back to another episode of Unranked Podcast. Got Grant, Eli here, of course, with us. This week, we're going to touch on the Michigan spring game. Just talk about some of the stuff we liked, just on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. Also talk a little bit about Jaden Davis. That was a great pickup by Michigan. That was somebody that was kind of hanging in the balance just earlier this year with Harbaugh. He had some stuff going on with the NFL. Then we're going to shift over to Michigan basketball and just talk about the state of Michigan basketball right now. Obviously, a lot of disappointment with the season and followed up by a lot more disappointment just with some key guys, leaving, Dickinson transferring out. A lot to touch on the Michigan side of things. Eli, I'm gonna throw it over to you, let you get it started get it started. What are your thoughts on just spring ball? What'd you like? Any concerns, things along those lines? Want to see, what your thoughts were after checking it out this past weekend.
Yeah, no, I'd be the first to admit it wasn't like the sexiest display of our team. It didn't look that well oiled. Kind of rough weather, kind of choppy. Just one of those days. Probably not what we're gonna have to play in October, or November. Look kind of like one of those games. Excuse me. But what I would just say, obviously, we're still a heavy run the ball team. And we had Blake Quorum as well as Donovan Edwards not in the game, so that's going to affect us. We're trying to really figure out who the number 3 is, who the number 4 is. You had Mullins, who kind of popped up. I would say in the Ohio State game. It was kind of had a mini key role for the rest of the season. He got a decent amount of carries.
Mm-hmm.
But the 1-2 combo was not in the game. So, it's kind of, you got to take that for what it is. JJ, some very, very impressive throws. Some of those throws, the arm talent, you could see, him reading the play well, reading the pocket well. Other times, he kind of looked off kilter. Interception. They try to say he got his elbow hit. I'm not so sure on that. It looked to me kind of like he just might have, threw a duck on one.
Airmailed it. Yeah.
He only threw about 5-6 of those all season last year. So, still fairly confident that he'll take care of the ball, but not something you want to see. But overall, from an offensive side of the game, I'm once again just wanting more. Kind of like throughout the season. Wanting more out of that unit. But not full strength. Obviously, they don't want Jake too many hits. I imagine he's going to be running the ball a little bit more. But overall, I would say, we didn't do anything too crazy. I think he just kind of went out and just really played with a blank package and just one of the shots from that and see who could do what in a limited playbook. So
I think.
I don't know who the hell the backup's going to be. Nobody. Personally, maybe just off the name and what his running ability. Maybe OG, kind of would be my number 2. But I think that's a big question going into the season. Is who's going to be that number 2? Behind JJ.
Yeah, they say it should be Davis Warren just because he as a freshman he was having to be scout team QB against Hutch and Ojabo. So, but I didn't really see a ton, or spring game, right? So everybody kind of gets their reps and such, but it felt like the guy Jack Tuttle, the transfer from Indiana, and then like you said, they got Orgy, they played quite a bit, and I say a lot of stuff you said there. I mean, spring game, it's really if you look at it, it's a glorified practice. I think they spent the majority of the time on the same side of the field, just kind of running again, into like the same end zone. And, I'm sure Harbaugh kind of has a lot to do with what's being run, not being run, obviously, trying to keep things very vanilla. Probably just wants to see people like competing. So I think some of the players that I was excited about was, like you said, Diamond Edwards and Blake Corum being out. Got that freshman Benjamin Hall, who actually follows Unranked Podcast on Instagram. So shout out Benjamin Hall. He had number 28, had a like a 30, 40-yard run. I think he had like over 100 yards rushing, and a touchdown, by himself. It was kind of crazy seeing him and Orgy in the backfield. I remember one of the commentators just saying like they were like a combined like 500 pounds. So just
muscle.
I could see, right, yeah, which kind of worries me just how well they played, because I could just see Harbaugh like, man, I got a package for them on third and short at the goal line that we can bust out of nowhere in a big game. But I digress. So it's
Hey, be thinking about it right now.
right. How can we use Alex Orgy in the middle of a big game and try to whatever? We won't go down that road right now, but yeah, I mean, I think I like what I saw. Even with JJ, I think just glad that he's gotten like them reps. Put on like 15 pounds. It looks a lot more. Looks a lot more. Just bigger, thicker. I think. Pause. I think he'll, like you said, have him running a lot more this year. I think we're gonna see a lot more of just what he can do. I think he's gonna take that that next step as far as just having more command of the offense. And you would hope that, right? Especially after like last year when both running backs. I mean, being running back is a tough position. Like you most are lucky to make it through the entire season without getting banged up. Both of them missed a couple games here and there. Edwards was pretty banged up quite a bit throughout the entire season. So you wanted to definitely see JJ start to take them steps. And then even like Loveland, he caught a couple passes, definitely want to see like how he starts to develop, and how he starts to become more of the bigger part of the offense. Yeah, I mean, we Michigan's offense tend to be like tight ends tend to be like safety valves and primary targets on a lot of different plays. So I could definitely see him having a big year. And yeah, like you said, it was muddied up,
Like a mismatch nightmare. Like he really
right.
We didn't even really. I mean, obviously it was due to injury, but we really didn't see him until mid-season, and then he came on and he probably had I don't know, he floated around 100 yards a couple of games, or at least 75 plus, a couple of times where he was getting loose. So I think he's going to be difficult for people to match up with, and with RPO and JJ and all that, I think he could be utilized very well. So I agree with you on that.
Absolutely. So yeah, shift gears to defense. I'll throw it right back to you. What do you think about what you saw on that side of the ball? That's the side of the ball I'm most concerned about. I think offense kind of take care of itself, but yeah, I want to see what your thoughts are just on defense.
Yeah, the last thing I would say, just one thing, we can't not shout out the offensive line. I think they're going to be stout again.
Oh, absolutely.
Reloaded front to back. Just want to give them a shout out because they look once again
100%
year type team.
Yep.
As far as the defense goes, I would say back they look flying to the ball. I not a lot that I didn't. As far as like I can't point out to anything. It's like as far as they was letting this happen, they was letting that happen. I would say I'm blanking on my man's name, but the Coastal Carolina transfer.
Yep, Josiah Stewart.
He seems special. Junior Colston. I think we have a lot of people around that team that's going to be fast, hard to defend. I think once again, a reload from front to back. Offense. I kind of feel that way about defense. Defense always seems to work itself out to some degree. And I think it's going to be much of the same with that. I think they were swallowing up that offense a lot. So I would say that I don't know. I'm ready to see them come out there. They look fast.
Yep.
And, I guess cornerbacks a little bit. We got to see who that is. We had a couple early departures, whether it was Turner. But with that being said, I'm very on the positive side of what what on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We look great.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think just a defense. I mean, I love just seeing Kenneth Grant just literally blow plays, and I think that's what I do kind of enjoy about spring ball, and you like them like watching that game is you'll kind of just see Like if the offense don't really got it clicking, it's like, okay, well, at least the defense kind of doing a part. You know what I'm saying? To where I think like, obviously they've been playing against each other and know what's coming, the tendencies and things along those lines. So, but no, I think Kenneth Grant, I mean, being the first overall pick for both teams, he definitely showed why. I mean, yeah, that's gonna be one of them guys that's going you're gonna slide right in there for Mozzie Smith right next to Mason Graham. So we just got, the D line is pretty tightened up, plenty of depth from the edge position. I
Yep.
mean, Josiah Stewart, you named him, he got a sack, like came off the edge and got an air sack on JJ earlier, like early on in the spring game. Braden McGregor, saw Jalen Harrell making a couple different plays. Derek Moore is out there quite a bit. So I think right now we already got like 4 guys that are just, got a whole another season under their belt.
Yeah,
Play
and got a
well.
lot last year. Like
Yep.
Graham, freshman last year, lots of
Yep.
good, lots of good snaps, and
Yep.
he's the type of guy that he had some very impressive plays last year. He just is like coming in as a second,
Yeah.
a breather really, and he was
Yeah.
making plays. So that's a guy I'm really excited about. And like you said, Grant, I think he's like you said, just another massive man. I forget exactly. I think 300 plus pounds. Just a regular.
Yeah.
I think those are Big Ten guys. I think
For sure. I'd even say like, I mean, them, like James said in our group chat, like those are the guys you start to see at Bama and Georgia, something like that, that SEC talent where you just got these big guys that can move. I mean, I'm just excited to see, what this whole defense does as a whole. And I mean, this is going on the 3rd year in the same defense scheme, both sides of the ball, like that. Like I just like the continuity. Like we're just plugging people in. Everybody's learning the defense. You got some that are, memorizing the defense, and then you got the new people that are coming in that are learning the defense. They're going to have the opportunity to learn it, obviously, like in spring ball, and then work on it, throughout the year, fall camp. So I think
on you, where we're, even if it's not big changes, the terminology doesn't change. The minor nuances of it all doesn't change. That
right.
Then you could really, like you said, and then if I've been in it 3 years, I'm a junior or senior. You're incoming freshman. I can teach you all of the little details, and you get that much more of a leg up.
Yep.
As far as the minor tricks of the trade when it comes to this particular defense. So I agree with you. The not having a rug pulled on you, which seems to have happened the first couple of years of Harbaugh. It was a kind of a juggling contest with what offensive coordinators he had and what scheme we had running and what we were fully buying into. Are we Gaddis spread them all out, or are we running up the middle 45 times a game? I think so. I agree.
Yeah.
Don Brown man across the board. Are we? Yeah.
PTSD. I just.
Yeah.
The Ohio scoreboards flashed in my mind 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. Speaking of scoreboard, I seen somebody say it was 45, 20, 23 days.
I saw that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But yeah, no, for sure. Overall, like you said, spring game, just good to watch the team go out, see what they put together the last couple of months, see some of the younger guys that maybe we got a glimpse of last year begin to get their shine. Yeah, no, I think overall I'm just excited, for football again. I think, we are returning a crazy amount of, production on the defensive side. And we're back-to-back Big Ten. So, I agree.
Going into the news, going into the season, like, kind of unfamiliar territory. I mean, we were the Big Ten champs last year, and we're still underdog, considered like going into that Ohio game. But now this year, I mean, we're favored
on the road. Everybody's like, "Oh, you ain't getting it on the road."
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is like some uncharted territory. I would say, at least just like for me personally, because we started kind of caring more about football on the back end of the the 2000s with the Mike Harts and everything. Kind of saw that as we started to get older. But from then on, it was pretty bad up until 2017, 2018. So it's glad to see that we're back where we need to be overall. And then shout out Ben Herbert, got an extension. So, just off what we would see last year with the second half, first half compared to second half, and how much we dominated. That's one of them X factors that Harbaugh called them. That just good to have that guy around. Like continuity. Just seeing the same people in the building. That's something that I'm glad we've been able to overcome just with some of the turnover here and there, and Harbaugh kind of flirting with the NFL. So it's all on the up and up on the football side of things. So
yeah, no, I agree. I like that.
Yep. Yeah. So to kind of turn the page and talk about Michigan basketball. Obviously the season didn't go anywhere near how we thought it would go. Watched a couple of tough losses, especially towards the end of the season. I couldn't even turn on NIT games, to be completely honest. I might have watched like a minute and a half of both games they played. They didn't even do well in that, so and I feel like dominoes are kind of falling right now to where, people are kind of questioning just, Howard from like how he's developing some of these players. We've had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 guys transfer out the last like 3 to 4 years. And some of them players, were able to find success by making the tournament, this upcoming year or this past year. So just want to see your thoughts, what your, how things have kind of transpired, and how do you kind of feel going into the off season for basketball?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it. I think it's, the beginning steps of, hitting the panic button a little bit. I think this is a big season. We got to have, I'm not saying Final Four tournament, but I'm saying we even got to get, just the groundwork of success. We got to get,
win 20 games.
Yeah, we got to win 20 games, tournament, and try to go from there. We got, we really got to hit the reset button because, I think with how fast things are conspiring, and, I don't think you would have polled Michigan fans even a month ago and said, all right, Dickinson's leaving. Nobody would have said on the transfer. Maybe he went pro. Now, that was kind of weird, but, nobody would have said he would transfer out of the program.
Yeah.
Which everybody kind of see the writing on the wall with that. Buffkin, people were on the fence about. You were hoping he would stay, but that's also kind of the limbo where, he's not doing that as well. Caleb Houston left. Diambate left. I think to a certain degree, you got to be the friendly coach where if it is in the player's best interest, you encourage them to leave. But if you think it's going to pan out like how it's been panning out,
conversations,
get them to stay and do it and for both parties, somebody like Caleb Houston, we said it right before we came. If he comes back this year, not doubt in my mind that it benefits both him as a player, his draft stock this year, probably earn himself a guaranteed contract, and we're probably making the tournament. And all good positive things. I think that comes with top down from the coach. I know when Howard first came, I feel like it was always, we were going to get this player, we're getting that player, Isaiah Todd, and and such and such, all these big name guys, and not many of them have came through the door or panned out all that well, and so it's kind of really at the state of the program of like, what's happening, what's our identity, what our where are we going to go from here? You got to, the way it's looking now, this team that we're going to roll is going to be dog shit. There's no other, but it's not, it doesn't look like a tournament team.
No.
As much, just my final point on this, and we go back and forth a little bit, but as much as I think Hunter Dickinson was kind of soaking up the ball a little bit and maybe draining some of the movement, and some of the other players couldn't flourish with his playing style. As much as I think that is, I hear some rumblings of people saying that. I also think he arguably was our best player and most consistent player. So I think, two things can be true. Other players could not have flourished with his playing style, and also he arguably was our best player. So, I think it's that's something we got to deal with. And I think I don't know. We just got to figure it out, man. It's a bad situation.
I feel that. And I think just with like like Hunter Dickinson. I think it might have even fans might have started to have something to do with that too. I mean, I don't know about you, man. I kind of was texting you. He had like the ski mask game, and I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 different games. I won't dig in too bad on them. I will say though, there's like 2 or 3 different games where, he's finding it more valuable to interact with the crowd, and then you see these mental lapses in the middle of the game, to where your focus is on the game and not so much the crowd. We might we might win a couple more of those games. That just changes the whole dynamic of the season. We're not, playing these like de facto playoff like play-in games, to end the Big Ten, like the conference season. So, yeah, and it's just tough because it's, like I told you before you hopped on here, you just hope that like, Kobe gets like, good advice, that he got good advice. Because I'm just calling it what it is. I mean, you and I both got mock drafts quite a bit. I've heard that he might be like a mid first round selection. You know how the NBA, I mean, I've really seen him in like even like first or second round mock drafts, at least as of like the last week. And I'm not, not saying that, there ain't no slight to him at all. It's just you hope that, he gets, got some good advice to be able to, make that move. And you hope that he does, end up, going first round. I would have just loved for, they sit him down, like I told you, and try to throw him a couple 100,000, say you option 1B, whatever, just the way that him and Dickinson were playing while Jet was out, I thought we would have maybe been able to do something, more to be able to, kind of just tell them like, hey, we had a tough season, but like, look at what you were able to do and look at what you can maybe do with another year under your belt. But yeah, I mean, you start to kind of hear things about like, Howard and just like how he's being, how he's developing players. And you got guys, that have kind of, come in and really like plateaued and haven't, gotten really any better. I mean, some of the stuff that, there's just a lot of like attention to detail, like minor things that just weren't being done correctly that just contributed to the demise of like the season overall. I mean, I still think about that, the Big Ten tournament, we're playing Rutgers, got this guard shooting a free throw. He somehow gets his own rebound and lays it back in, while guys from Michigan are just running back. And I kind of wonder about Howard's like, NBA background, and sometimes like how, like, sometimes you got an NBA background, you ain't really coaching, how you know what I'm saying? Like the small things, the little details, like, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, just kind of, you're spot on with that. We can point to just multiple collapses. It's, I don't care. It's a collapse when we lose to Central Michigan. I don't care. It never be close enough.
It's a collapse when you beat Ohio in overtime.
Yeah, for sure. Collapse versus Indiana. Spun out versus State in one of those games. The 3 of the last, like, call it 3 or 4 games in the regular season we lost due to spinning out. And we literally, I don't know if you finish this, you can probably find it on YouTube or whatever. It was the worst finish of all time. I think it was Vanderbilt, is who we lost to in the NIT. So I happened to watch that game, or second half, I should say. And I'm not even bullshitting, bro. We literally could not inbound the ball for the last 90 seconds of the game. We had I'm not even exaggerating. I want to say 3 turnovers in the last 90 seconds off inbounds. We could not get half court, or we would get it in, turn it over, or we let them come right back in the game and lost. It's, I think that was just like a perfect, picture of the whole season. It was just like sloppiness, and we had basketball. I feel like when I turned it on, we were up like 9 pretty comfortably, and let them chip their way back in, and then it was just complete collapse, and that was that. It was nasty. It was nasty to watch, and like you said, maybe it is an attention to detail thing. But it's I just think it is alarming to me. It really is.
And it's like all facts. I mean, and I know we don't really dive too much into the recruiting. I'm gonna call it what it is. I mean, little brother got 3 or 4 guys in the top like 60 next year coming in. I think we got 2 guys in the top like 125 coming
Yeah.
in. And I mean, one of them is like a 6'3" point guard. The other one's, a center that they were even talking about potentially redshirting. He's a 4-star, but like, I don't know if they're talking about redshirting him just because Hunter was still going to be there or like because he may need it. And then you look at, I'm just looking at the makeup of the team. I mean, right now we're looking at like, Doug McDaniel, the kid Burnett that just transferred, Will Shedder, Terrace
Yeah.
Reed,
Reed.
somebody else off the, some of them.
Baker.
Yeah, Baker. So I mean, it's half them
What's
guys that's named after
what's
last
they got hurt?
Llewellyn.
Well,
I think they might be working on, he might get an additional year just because he got hurt so early in the season. But we even saw how he was adapting when the season first started. Wasn't really playing very well. And that was, Ivy League transfer, graduate, once again. So yeah, I mean, I just think. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you on all of it. It is. It's and you point out the players they're getting, and on top of that, I'm blanking on their names right now. But State had two of their players that could have went pro, could have transferred, are coming back.
Yep.
Ours are. We have a leaky faucet.
Yeah.
we can't retain the players at all. And State, who went to the tournament, who won a game, has better recruiting class, and are there players that are on the fence about leaving or not leaving are staying.
Right.
We're not a tournament team. Less talented players coming in, and anybody who's on the team that can leave, go to the NBA leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
State of the team is bad, bro. I think we gotta. I'm not ready to throw out, the fire Jawan thing yet. I'm not saying that, but I think we gotta really, you gotta hone it in and really relock in and go get somebody. These top transfer players, go steal, flip a high school recruit at the lag. Go do something, or you gotta, hit the pavement again.
Absolutely.
Make it work.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And that was kind of going to just kind of, segue into what we're going to kind of discuss next was just, looks like we got some action. I'm hearing, got the guy Burnett from Bama. I mean, we're his third school. He wasn't really playing a ton there. So we'll kind of see what happens with him. I think there's a connection with him being from Illinois and knowing Juwan Howard from being younger. But man, I mean, right now I'm like, hope we get Caleb Love. Like that looks like there might be some synergy there. That'd be a solid backcourt with him and McDaniel. They're looking at some 4-star that just transferred from Oregon. His name is Khalil Ware.
Caleb Love, proven SEC or ACC starter, like 15-5 a game.
Yep.
That's a plug-in starter and not an experimental type player. So, dude that,
been a national championship.
Yeah, should theoretically hit the ground running and no reason for it not to work.
Right.
Yeah, so I would agree with you on that. That'd be a major pickup and would get me to halt the brakes on some of the stuff I'm saying a little bit, because that would be, like you said, that's a formidable backcourt. We still got some questions, but at least we got something. We gonna have,
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we won't try to go down that Howard trail type yet, or quite yet, but I mean, yeah, it's time to start hitting that grindstone and really, that class coming in this upcoming year is very disappointing already off rip, just on top of what we're losing and just the attrition. So yeah, I just think, they got to find a way to try to close a deal with at least 2 to 3 guys, I'd say. I mean, because we already had, I feel like our biggest issue was like wing play. We had guard play, shooting guard play was solid. We had Jet, but like just from like a depth standpoint, like when he went down, that, kind of hurt on that side of things. I mean, got to, just make sure the, big men like that, down low is solidified. Obviously got Terrace Reed, but we saw how raw he looked, last year. Got another freshman coming in. And, once again, we just didn't really see much of that bench all year. So, you would just hope that some of these guys have a pretty big off season and, maybe step in and contribute. But I even think like the guy that I thought had the most promise, Isaiah Barnes, 4-star, he transferred. So, it's just one of them things where I think like you say, you got to hit the grindstone and really just get on that road and start to, close some of these deals. And it sucks too, because like this is where you start getting the murky waters with admissions and, making sure people got all the credits necessary. And, we watched Terrence Shannon slap our fingers and go to Illinois last year. We've seen, players that might be in consideration with us, admissions kind of, ends up taking, pulling the chair on a lot of that type of stuff too. So, we know what Juwan, he up against quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, this is where you gotta just really, he gotta really just hit the grindstone and just get out there and try to, reset this roster and just get us back to where we need to be, and that's at least in the tournament at minimum.
Yeah. How many games? What did we finish this year? Like,
18 and 15.
Okay. Way too early prediction. We have plus or minus 17 and a half wins next year.
Right now, I would say under 17 and a half. Yeah.
I agree with you. And I would never thought I would say that.
No, yeah.
I have banners up by now. You asked me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And heart wrenching part of it is the how he came out the gate, Elite 8, Sweet 16, team didn't look that good. We still made a tournament run. Then it was looking promising. So
it was.
Yeah, it's not too late to turn it around, but I think right now I wouldn't say we're not matching that win total from last year. I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, I think they got to get. It'd be nice if they can land this 4-star from Oregon freshman. You know how much you're going to get. You know what he is, but he's a 4-star, so I'm assuming he got a little something to him. Hoping he got a little something to him. Get quite a bit out of the Burnett kid from Bama. He was in like a pretty small role there. So you hope if he, gets more minutes, he could be a little bit more productive. And then, I think Caleb Love, I think we gotta get at least him or the kid from Oregon.
Yeah, I agree.
Gotta land at least one out of the two. I think 2 out of 2 would be like, that win total might be a little bit more reasonable, at least from like what the roster could look like. But yeah, I think they're going to, get it figured out. This is one of the worst seasons we've had, really since last year. I mean, I can't think of a lot. It's probably been like since, 2011 to 2010, probably
around.
Even later than that. They're just not, not having a great basketball season. So, we got a little spoiled. Was in the tournament, pretty much every other year going into that second weekend. I think this will be a good little reset. A lot of schools go through it. Like UConn, they had their team look like shit 4 or 5 years ago. Now they won a national championship.
Yeah.
You had North Carolina was at the mountaintop last year with a chance to win it all. They didn't make the tournament this year. So it's, as devastating as it felt, it kind of happens every now and then. So I just think, they got a good opportunity to spin the block and get some get back next season. So
you got to re-lock in, get on your grind. Hopefully it does more hungry. But yeah, no, that just isn't good basketball to watch. It's not fun. But no, I agree. You got anything else for the people?
No, that's all I got. We'll be tuning in, next week, getting closer and closer to draft time. So, we'll start to just kind of shift our focus to the Lions and what we think they should do, what they got going on. And see y'all next week.
Yes, sir. Peace.